Hello and welcome. I'm Jess. Today we'll talk about how to increase your capacity to hold and receive more money. This was a mouthful. I had to look up the title a million times. But this is something that I really love to talk about because why do I feel like I can talk about this? Well, I've had a business for years now, and my very first business was a health coaching business. In this business, I have noticed and I have realized that over many, many months and years at a time, no matter how hard I worked, I could not get over a certain amount of money that I was making. And it would really mess with me because I would not understand how other people in my life, coaches, friends, were increasing their income. And I was still stuck in the same type of income bracket, despite me trying a different strategy, doing something else, doing all the things on the masculine energy side. And I would find myself really frustrated at a certain point because, of course, you have a business because you want to grow, you want to expand, you want to scale. And that was and still is, of course, always one of my goals. But at that time, I would not quite understand because I was doing everything right on paper. And still, something within me was not clicking. Something within me was not shifting until, and a lot of you might already know this story, when I hit my 25,000 in a month in my business and my whole body panicked. I went into complete freeze mode and I went into a complete sabotage spiral afterwards, not understanding what I was doing, why I was doing that, because I thought I was going to be excited when I made that money. Well, instead, my whole body did not feel safe receiving this money. And so that's why I want to talk about this today, why you need to increase your capacity. And this is also going to go beyond the money topic. I like to talk about money because it's a great representation and the results are a lot easier measured. But ultimately, what we're going to talk about is really for everything. Like, if you increase your capacity to receive and hold the goodness that you want to receive in your life, things will just naturally start to shift. And so let's talk about capacity. What is capacity? I like to think of capacity as how much you can hold without collapsing. And when I think about it, even the word capacity, I'm thinking of a bucket, and I can think of a big bucket, a small bucket, and each one of us, we have a certain level of capacity. And if, let's say, you fill that bucket up with water and there's more water than bucket, the water is going to overflow. This is the threshold of how much you can hold, right? Again, think there's buckets, you pour in water, and water is, let's say, the work, the money, the success that you're having. And if that bucket doesn't increase in size, eventually the water is going to pour over. And that means you've hit your limit of how much you can receive, of how much you can hold. And this is the exact same thing that happened to me. And it would happen over and over again in my business, hitting a certain amount of money every single month, not realizing the actual work that I needed to do was to increase my capacity, to increase how much I was able to hold. And when I learned about this, it just made so much sense. Because when I think back, even when I made my 25,000 or less, my capacity was nowhere near someone that was a business owner who could hold even more clients or more money. Because what happens is if you increase your capacity, what needs to shift on a deeper level is also your identity. Who you're being needs to shift. How you're showing up needs to shift. How you're seeing yourself needs to shift. Capacity are two things: identity and nervous system. Identity is who you think you are based on your past experiences. And identity shows up by you looking at what you currently have in your life that you like or don't like, right? Identity is why you believe in yourself or you don't believe in yourself, and why you take action or you don't take action. And so when we know identity is an accumulation of our past experiences, the good and bad ones, and it created certain beliefs that we now hold in this term called identity, we also know that the capacity level that we live with today is a result of our past experiences and who we think we are and how much we think we can handle, right? And so if your identity doesn't shift on a much deeper level, so will your capacity stay small. Because if you don't think that you can hold more than what is right now, that bucket is going to overflow, right? And if you want more wealth, more visibility, more whatever it is, that bucket needs to increase. And that is you shifting into seeing yourself as a different person, into shifting that identity within. And so how do we do this? How do you shift your identity? Well, ask yourself this. Right now, what are your current results in your life? or in your business. Let's say you're making $2,000 a month, which is a very good number in my opinion. But that $2,000 a month represents literally who you are and the capacity level that you currently have. So if you're making $2,000 a month, let's say you call yourself $2,000 a month Sarah. Let's say this is your current identity, $2,000 a month Sarah. If you want to make $10,000, that shifts into being $10,000 a month Sarah. So look at your current thoughts, feelings, and actions that is creating the $2,000 a month. So let's say your thoughts are every day, oh, life is a struggle. It's really hard to make money every month. No one wants to work with me. The feelings are not feeling enough, feeling anxious, feeling worried, feeling fear, and then the actions are going to represent that. So that means you doubt yourself a lot. Maybe you show up very inconsistently. Maybe you're not selling as much as you would like to. That would lead you to more money. And so as you can see, the thoughts, feelings, and the actions are based on the identity of someone who makes $2,000 a month. So if we know you want to make more than that, you gotta ask yourself, well, what are the thoughts, feelings, and actions I have to have instead if I want to make more money? And again, this applies to everything. If I want to have a better relationship, if I want to be more successful, if I want to blah, 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 whatever that might fill in the gap, right? Whatever it is that you want. So that means, okay, we can reverse back engineer this now. So if I am $10,000 a month, Sarah. Okay, so what would be my thoughts if I was making $10,000 a month? Well, I would probably be very excited. I would, think life is always working for me and life is in my favor and everyone loves to buy my products and I'm really good at what I do and I am good enough. The feelings are excitement, joy, fulfillment, and then the actions are going to represent that. You're showing up consistently because you love what you do. You believe in your product so much, so you sell all the time. You are not scared of putting yourself out there because when people see you, you're selling and you're making more money. Do you see how the difference is between $2,000 a month, Sarah, and $10,000 a month, Sarah? Very big difference, very big shift. And that is the first step that you got to do to increase your capacity to hold and receive more money. Because if you don't see yourself as someone who can do that, well, guess what? Things outside of you will not change. You can't keep giving your power away to things outside of you. You got to redirect it back to yourself. So that is the first thing. The second thing is nervous system. Now, I want to talk about nervous system from a different lens that I've done it before. I've made so many videos about nervous system here on my channel and I love it and I'm obsessed. It's literally the foundation of my work that I do with my clients. But I want to talk about the distinction between nervous system regulation and nervous system remapping or reprogramming. A lot of people try to find a quick fix of what is going on within them to immediately want to shift the external results, right? So let's say you want to go from $2,000 to $10,000 a month. You're like, oh, maybe I need to regulate my nervous system a little bit more. So let me do a couple of 3 cold plunges a week because it's going to regulate myself in that moment and that was going to lead me to more money. Now, if you hold that belief, of course it can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. Whatever you believe will manifest. But if your baseline state of being is this regulation, the things that you're doing like breath work or again, cold plunges, going on a walk will regulate you in the moment, but might not actually change the baseline of dysregulation that you're living with. Where does the dysregulation come from? A lot of us, the majority of us, we have grown up with wonderful parents, but a lot of them have been dysregulated themselves. And as children, we take on the dysregulation of our parents very early on, even through eye movements. We take on the dysregulation of our parents and that becomes our state of being. So if you grew up with a mother who was very scared of life, you have taken that on. You now might feel that life is not safe and that people are mean and that, life is not on your side. Whatever your beliefs of your mother were, you have taken that on. And so that baseline state of being might be fear, might be, insecurity, might be just feeling very unsafe in terms of living life. Doing those tools like cold plunges and things like that, they might help you in that moment when an unpleasant emotion comes up, like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling triggered. Let me find a way to regulate. Let me go on a walk, let me do some breath work, whatever. And it's helping to regulate you in that moment. But that baseline might still be constant dysregulation. It comes from someone who always felt anxious and I could never pinpoint what it was. Even as a child, I've had it a state of dysregulation and anxiety. And so I had to learn that my baseline required me to go deeper. And the way that I also knew it is I had an eating disorder. I had bulimia. I had very bad hormonal acne all over my face, my neck, my chest, my back. I had insomnia, really bad insomnia years ago, where I would take 2, sleeping pills over by the doctor prescribed, and it would not help me sleep. So I know what it feels like to live in constant dysregulation. And the quick fixes that I call it weren't what actually helped me regulate. I had to go to the root of what was causing me to feel that constant dysregulation. And when I healed that, I was able to increase my baseline to feeling safer within myself, within my body. And then the tools like breath work, like going on a walk, like whatever that might be, were helping me in that very moment whenever I found myself feeling dysregulated again. Now, don't get me wrong, stress is not bad. We need stress because this is what your body is telling you and alerting you about something that is wrong so that you take action, so that you don't do something stupid or you don't unalive yourself, right? So like if you're crossing the street, of course, you're going to look left and right to see if there's a car. And if a car is passing or is driving very quick, you're going to stop so that the car doesn't crash into you. So we need that that quick dysregulation, that quick stress response. We need that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is if it's becoming dysregulated all the time. So going back to the capacity conversation, why does nervous system and capacity fit together? Now, nervous system is your baseline state. If your baseline state is, I like the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven, when you find yourself making more money or increasing your wealth or being seen by more people, and your baseline state has always been, hey, it is safer if I'm not seen by a lot of people. It is safer if I stay small. It is safer if I conform. Of course, it will lead you to be dysregulated because on the other side, it might be the unfamiliar heaven, but it is unfamiliar. And for your nervous system, anything that is unfamiliar is triggering. It will want to bring you back into what it knows it to be familiar. So in order for us to be able to fully increase and expand the capacity, we got to do both identity work and nervous system, not only regulation, but reprogramming, going deeper into understanding why I do certain things, why I believe certain things, why I feel unsafe with being seen by a lot of people, right? These are the 2 main things that we got to do. Now, if you are curious to go deeper, I actually have a free Telegram group. We are over 200 beautiful women right there, right now, in the group. And I go deeper into teaching deeper aspects of these terms, and also will be sharing more exercises that you can do within the Telegram group. If you're interested, the link is right here in the description. It's a wonderful place to be. You have people from all around the world there. So I would just generally, recommended joining because it's really the community that you want to be in when it comes to this type of work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you start to shift your identity and your nervous system and you start to heal and go deeper into the root of where that behavior is actually stemming from, things will start to shift. And again, I wish I would have understood this because back then, even though I was learning about identity, my nervous system was dysregulated. So I could learn everything about identity, but my nervous system was dysregulated, so things weren't shifting. And then I could also do all the nervous system regulation work, but if my identity isn't shifting, well, guess what? I will still find myself blocking myself from the level of wealth or success that I desire. So both of them are extremely important to look in conjunction and do the work either similarly or right next to each other. If you're also curious to know how to work with me, I have a program called Embodied Business. This is really the place to be for female entrepreneurs. I will drop all the details right there in the description as well. We're going to do all the work, the nervous system remapping, the subconscious reprogramming, the somatic practices. So this is where we put these things into practice, right? This is where I tell you what's going on, but in my programs, this is where we put these things into practice so we can actually shift this every single day to create a new baseline of success and to really increase your wealth, to increase your capacity, to increase whatever it is that you want to increase, okay? If you do have any questions about my program, about this video, about anything else, feel free to let me know down below. Share your thoughts with me down below as well. If you like this type of content, make sure to follow me because you're going to get a lot more out of this channel. And yeah, I appreciate that you're here. Sending you so much love, and until the next time, bye-bye.